Is that Butthead? I put
Yes.
my glasses on.
Oh, I like the glasses.
Thank you.
That's a nice touch.
Yes. Um, so I just want to make this very historic. Um, First foray into the Google Plus fantasy negotiations. A little bit of background for the viewers at home. Essentially, I have the well. Let me go back even further. I'm sure you all recognize myself and Paul Abbott from the world's greatest fantasy football league, Scorpion Lounge. I'm a two-time champion, Lek, and former commissioner, first commissioner, founder, Hall of Famer, all of that. Paul Abbott, if you want to introduce yourself, please do so.
Sure, I can only say I'm a one-time champion, but the second commissioner, and thankfully we are both ex-commissioners, so that's good.
And thankfully, our third commissioner is nearing the end of his tenure, so that's a big win for us. Um, so I have the two best players in my mind uh, kept, but I'm only allowed to keep one of them. So I'm trying to shop around either Arian Foster or Michael Vick. So I have the number one QB, I have the number one running back. Paul, on the other hand, has a guy who's like a part-time player at best.
I think he's a full-time player, but he's on a part-time team. I think that's the problem.
So he's actually like 25% of a player, essentially. So I'm trying to convince him that, well, not convince, because it's a very generous offer of Vic to the Dukes of Dorchester in exchange for their third round pick, and so that's essentially where we are at. That's what's on the table at this point. I have interest from Pitbull, Jeff Hoffman. But in his usual Jeff Hoffman tactics, is really trying to lowball me with originally a fifth round pick for Vic, which he then graciously upgraded to a fourth round pick. And when you look at the difference, it equals 3 spots difference. So I was like, yeah, nice try, Jeff. But not going to fall for that one. So that's where we're at. I would, if I was picking fourth, I would actually keep Vic over Foster, as crazy as that sounds. But since I picked 14th, I know that there's going to be no good running backs down there to pair with Vic, so that's why I'm looking to move Vic instead of Foster. So that's my opening statement.
So my rationale here on there's no doubt. Look, there's no doubt that Vick and Foster are great guys, but you have the issue of both of them have the potential to be one-year wonders. Now, the Eagles are doing this whole superstar thing, and we saw how that worked for the Miami Heat. We have Foster. If anything, between the two of them, I think Foster's a little bit more of a sure thing, just because there's less of an injury risk and really no competition to speak of in Houston. They have a lot of needs to address, and they've addressed others at this point. But the fact remains, I think has anybody ever traded a second rounder for a keeper? I think the third rounder is the most that's ever been given up.
I think third round is the highest that's ever been traded. So yeah, I think it's my other option is just to leave Vic in the draft and actually, have someone push down to me at 14 who is better than I would get if I traded Vic. So that's the other consideration to factor in. But what I would throw out there is that, are you interested in Foster more so than Vic?
No, I probably wouldn't say more so. Just again, I'm in a little better spot on a running back, not somebody like Foster. But um, you know, I guess the other factor in my thinking here is, look, if I sit back, let you put Vick back in the draft, don't I have a shot at taking him and having Williams as a keeper who's probably as good as that third round draft pick anyway. I realize not a desirable running back, but it's a 16-team league. Another factor that people, the viewers, should understand: this is an unusually large league.
Yes, bloated. So someone said.
Someone said.
I would agree with that. But I yes, you will have the opportunity to get Vick at 4, no question.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing, yeah, and the thing is do I, guaranteeing myself him getting, I don't know, it's just when you bet the value of the players there, is it,
and the value of Williams.
Does it trade off, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't, having had D'Angelo for his 1-year wonder, it was great, but I worry about the value that he's going to have with Stewart still there. The team is horrible.
They're not going to be able to throw the ball, though.
Yeah, they're going to try.
Maybe they'll be able to run it. Who knows?
Cam Newton will try running, so I think that'll be a really big disaster. So that was the other thought was, would you swap first-round picks for Foster?
So you're saying, all right, now that's an interesting, and then does that put me in the situation where you're in, trying to figure out, is that with either offer, or would that be an offer for Vick only?
So I would keep Vick.
So you would keep Vick. I would get
Foster.
I would get Foster. Well, that's one to think about. That sounds like a better option to me. Of the two.
My caveat is that this would definitely be, again, you have to think about it at your own leisure. But I would do that, and I think that we can do it during the draft.
Yeah, but I think we'd have to do it before my pick.
Right. We'd have to do it. We would have to do it when you pick, because the guys in the top 4, I like 3 of them. The 4th one I do not want, and that's Mendenhall.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want Rashard Mendenhall because I'm an American, and that guy will never be on my team.
I can respect that.
Yes. I love, obviously AP won't be there, so it comes down to would Jamal Charles or would Ray Rice be there at 4? If they were, I would be interested in doing it.
Here's the only question though I have about that deal is because you would have, don't we process the keepers before the draft starts? That's the only. So you would only have one of the guys in your control. That's the thing. I think you only control one guy once the draft starts.
That sucks.
I mean that's my thought. If I were the commissioner, now keep in mind, it's not our call, but.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're definitely right. I would have to get confirmation from whoever's ahead of you. Obviously, Chachi takes Adrian Peterson, and then what does Hoffman do? And then I don't know who's ahead of you. Do you remember?
Oh, I actually can't remember who has the number 3 pick either.
So yeah.
We could pull that up. Is it in the email from last week?
From Hanson, yeah.
Yeah. Was the speaking of which, obviously Chris Luzine, honorary member of the lounge, doesn't actually have any ownership. Got married over the weekend. Was there any discussion of this at the wedding?
The only thing that I didn't make any. There was no trade talk. It was just I think that we are set for the 20th, which frightens me.
Yeah.
Because that's 10 days away.
So yeah, you know who has to deal with the bitching on that. That we're going to hear from a certain S. Ralph Hansen.
Oh yeah. He is on record as being unhappy. I think that you can't do it either, though, right?
No, I can. I was not preferred, but I can do it.
Got it.
I mean, even if I couldn't make it in person, I could make it, online. So I think I can make it in person, actually. Oh yeah, so it's Stan Frank is the number 3.
Oh, total wild.
Yeah, it's
My master plan is falling apart by the second.
I think we will point out, because we had a little email exchange before this chat about the live draft debacle of, I think it was 2000.
Yes.
And I will point out that's the 1 year that Dan Frank won the league.
Yeah.
So, when he didn't nobody had control over the draft.
And he now has the worst record of all time. If you look up at the league history, they have the worst record. So it doesn't factor in that
That's
first
fantastic.
year, but he has a 41% winning percentage. And that's
That's impressive.
Yeah, and that's rounding up. I rounded up 3 decimal points.
All right. Well.
What else am I going to say?
And then you have Occupied after. Yeah, I am sandwiched in between the Austin P. Trojans and Occupied. This is going to be an interesting draft for me.
The retard sandwich.
It means I cannot plan for anything.
Oh my god. Okay. So, yeah, from my perspective, I would perhaps roll the dice on that first round swap if you were interested. It definitely sounds like you don't want to do the 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I don't want to do the 3rd round. I mean, I would do a 4th rounder, but that doesn't really get you anywhere.
Right.
I think, what is it? Which way are we going? So it gets you 2 spots out of Hoffman, right?
Yeah. Right. Okay. I think we're at a stalemate, but this was informative. You have a lovely couch, by the way, if that helps butter you up.
I am in the basement. This is the 30-year-old handed down from my wife's parents' couch. So that's why it's a little more flowery than
nice.
I think I would like.
The outdoor patio furniture.
But yeah, it gives me a good view of the Red Sox in the background, who are losing 2-0.
Nice. Okay. All right. So we'll wait for Hoffman to pull the trigger on something, and then I will get back to you.
In all honesty, I think he's going to probably. When push comes to shove, he's got to make a move. So I think he'd probably give you that 3rd rounder eventually.
I know from another inside source that he's pursuing LeGarrette Blount for like a 9th round pick.
Well,
so he might go. He might go the really. Yeah, he might go the really cheap route as opposed to the super expensive Foster Vick route. So we'll see. But it'll be fun. I've been slowly talking myself into keeping Vick, to be honest with you, which is crazy considering that Foster is considered the #1 player overall. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's always tough in our league. I mean, a quarterback who can be that much above and beyond the other quarterbacks is worth a hell of a lot. So
he had a game where he had like 5 interceptions and it just was horrible, and he had 19 points.
Yeah,
and it was just amazing.
Well, didn't he have like the 53-point game last year too?
Yeah. I think my team, besides him that game, was -12, and he scored like 53. So I at least put up, 41 points. But this was fun.
All right.
It's good to see you.
I'm glad we made history, even if we couldn't make a deal.
A little bit of history. I will try and I'll get this up on my company's website, so to speak.
Your company? And did they give you a few stock options at least? Is that?
Yes, for
Can you really say your company?
yes, yeah, actually, yeah, I can. It's just for educational purposes, though. Maybe the corporate intranet. Um, but yeah, maybe we can do this again once things start to shake out, and I would love to do the drafts one year. We could just have you. I could bring my laptop and just put you in Fenaro's apartment. And people
I
can,
know. Maybe I shouldn't come. I do think we do need to have the. I mean, we need more than 2 people on this to really make it.
well, people would just
This is a dry run, I realize.
people would just come up and talk to the computer
yeah.
like all drunk and other foreign substances in them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that could make for legendary comedy.
I agree.
All right, man.
All right, we'll call it a night, and we'll do it again sometime soon.
Signing off and making history in the progress.
All right, well, thank you.
Kruth and Stepani.
Karuth and Strapani.
Later.